What is happening there, JGameDude here, and I don't believe I've ever made an individual video about Halo Infinite. So let's talk about the much requested feature that everyone has really been wanting for this game since its inception that we have not been discussing, or I guess anyone has really been talking about. And that is Halo Infinite getting a third-person camera for some unknown reason. So just before I get into the details about this and what my thoughts are, just wanted to say, hey, if you like my videos, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It sends all of those good, positive vibes over to YouTube to say, hey, I like these sorts of videos. People like me might also like it. Please recommend it, that type of thing. So it certainly will be appreciated. And if you prefer listening on audio platforms, I do upload to Spotify now, so I will put a link to my Spotify in the description below in case you prefer an audio platform. That being said, however, there's going to be one thing that I need to tackle immediately, and that is people are going to say Halo's initial inception was going to be a third-person shooter rather than a first-person shooter. And to that I have to say, because the game originally released as a first-person shooter, and every game that has released has had first-person elements, or has largely been the pretty much part of the DNA of the actual game series itself, adding a third-person camera is pretty much moving away from what its identity is, or what Halo is specifically known as. Even if the original idea was to make it a third-person shooter, it doesn't change the fact that it has always been a first-person shooter. So I just wanted to kind of tackle that immediately, because I know that's what is going to get a lot of people riled up. Let's actually get into the details, because I am utterly convinced nobody wanted this. I am pretty damn sure nobody wanted Halo to become a third-person shooter. And on top of that, of all of the things to add as a feature, people have been wanting co-op, split-screen co-op specifically, and that was cancelled in favor of, hey, actually, you know what? Halo 5 didn't even get split-screen co-op at launch. I can't remember if they actually did get it at all, but it definitely wasn't there at launch. Whereas with Halo Infinite, that promise was there. It was never delivered at launch, and then ultimately they ended up cancelling the feature outright in its entirety. So to add a third-person view instead is just mind-boggling. But let's actually talk about it. So 343 Industries has announced a third-person camera option is coming to Halo Infinite in November. One of the first-person shooters now going third-person. Oof. This next phrase is exactly what I'm feeling in here, because like, I'm sure. Anyway, here's the tweet by Halo saying, "Experience a new way to play. Third-person mode is coming to Halo Infinite this November." Jesus Christ. All right, so. Okay, it looks like it's only just Halo multiplayer and not the single player. Again, it says here experience a new way to play, but that's just really playing the same game but in a different camera view. It's not actually a new way to play. So, from what I've been able to gather from the actual audience is that, hey, this is actually reaching out to new people, because some people are not a fan of first-person shooters because playing in first person makes them sick. That's understandable. I get that, you know? Reaching out to new audiences, you're giving the option to play in first or third person, totally up to them. The weird part about this is it's only in multiplayer and not the single player. Sure, okay, fair enough. But then on top of that, people who prefer playing Halo, who like playing Halo, those people who have actually played Halo Infinite and have walked away from the game and haven't played it since its launch, you're not going to get those people back. Because the best thing you've done is add Forge. And that is pretty much the only thing that's really keeping the game alive, because it seems clear that people aren't a fan of the story, or that they find the open area elements of the game aren't actually helping. And not really adding to the game necessarily. You might be doing things a tad bit differently, but it's just not the Halo that people are looking for. Worth pointing out, I have only played a little bit of Halo 3. I was gonna say I've never played a Halo, but you know what? I actually have played Halo. Just a little bit of it, maybe 10-15 minutes of Halo 3 on 360, and that's about it. Actually, you know what? Halo Combat Evolved multiplayer on PC as well. There was that too. So, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not completely unequipped for this conversation, but definitely not the case. That being said, however, Gears of War is a third-person shooter. So they've had a third-person shooter under their belt as an IP being the Gears of War franchise. They have a first-person shooter franchise in the form of Halo. And what people are thinking is that this is to try and reach into the Fortnite bucket ultimately. A lot of people, I say a lot of people on the internet, at least from the comments that I've seen, and the reports that are being made by game journalists, which can definitely be taken for a grain of salt, which is why I was looking more at the comments of these articles and what the general consensus seemingly has been, especially in places like GameFAQs and I forgot what the other site was called, but it's fair to say that people are not looking forward to this. There's no expansion in the game, there's no new modes for the game, there's no new additional ideas that are being added. It's just adding an extra view, and that's really about it. So, comments on Twitter are surprisingly negative, which, yeah, sure. And people are using phrases like Fortniteification of Halo, trend chasing, and never playing it again. And sure, I guess that's just kind of the internet being what it is. And while third person has been in games because of heavy weapons, okay, there being a demand. Okay, because the thing is that modders are going to do anything to make the game more playable for more people. So modders are there for the people, but not necessarily the companies that are making the games. Well, especially if they're owned by, say, for example, a company like Microsoft. So I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, okay, there's no massive content update. You've cancelled multiple features, specifically, actually, I'll just use one feature as an example. The co-op split screen was never implemented, even though it was originally promised, which people are still sore about to this day, is still not being fulfilled. And instead you add a third-person camera because it makes Fortnite, from a distance, look a bit more like... it makes Halo look like, from a distance, a bit more like Fortnite, yes. Which is, I guess, why phrases like Fortniteification was used in trend chasing, because you're trying to chase what Fortnite is doing, pretty much. And I'm confused because, again, with what I said earlier, people who have dropped off the game have dropped off the game. People who are intending on playing the game, or who are still playing the game, are probably putting most of their time into Forge, which was the greatest thing to happen to this game, even though it didn't launch with Forge, which is something that was also come to as a massive disappointment to a lot of fans of Halo. In addition to that, the fact that there was no split screen co-op from the beginning, like, I wonder what 343 are doing with Halo. I wonder if Halo is even something that Xbox is going to be marketing moving forward. Will Master Chief even be on the box of the next Xbox that they're going to release? When they release the next console and people have this box in their hands that has, images of different Xbox properties on there before you open up the box to see the actual Xbox console inside of it, that cardboard box on the outside, is that going to feature Master Chief at all? It really makes me wonder what happened to Halo. People bloody loved Halo back in the day. People loved how Halo 1 was a reinvention of the shooter, adding stuff like the shield that replenishes itself that now everyone is doing. And now it seems more novel to make a Doom-like shooter instead, which is something that I personally fall more so along the lines of. I would prefer playing a Doom-like shooter rather than a Halo-like shooter, in my opinion. But that's just me. And even with, like, you know, Halo 2 being a genuinely well-done sequel to the original Halo. Halo 3 was the last hurrah, you got ODST as well, and then after that, it kind of goes downhill a bit. I guess it just depends on who you ask. Some people do actually like Halo Wars, others do prefer Spartan Ops. You could kind of go either way on that one. But definitely for a fact that people did not like Halo 5. The requisition system was definitely a point of contention for sure in the multiplayer. And the fact that now with Halo Infinite, and I'll keep harping on about this, split screen co-op was never added and was cancelled partway through, even though it was originally promised to be in the game. They're adding a third-person camera instead of adding features that people actually genuinely care about. So where does this leave Halo players in the end? And I'm more specifically wanting to hear about people who play Halo than people like me who haven't played Halo, because I want to understand, like, how broken are you guys on the inside about the changes that have been made to Halo. And I feel like talking to longtime Halo fans might actually put things into more perspective than just people who have only jumped in at 5 or jumped in at Infinite. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people who either have dropped off and never come back, or the people who have stuck around just despise what it is currently. But maybe I'm completely missing something here, I'm not 100%. But let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 300 subs by the end of the year. And with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.